Hi, this is Dr. Keith, and I'd like to welcome you for having got this far. And I want to share something with you from Supernoetics, something that is basic and very simple, but actually very magical in its way that will really help you sort out some issues. Listen, we have hacks, we have hundreds, if not thousands of hacks. The big ones we call hurrahs, where a person's life is utterly altered. But hacks are good, they're very quick little solutions that'll make things seem better or enable you to break through where you've been stuck. And this is such a hack. We call it finding inner peace. And from its name, you can guess what it's about. It's about resolving conflicts and allowing calm to reign, finding your way through the path of difficulties and so on. It's really rather good, but it's very simple, okay? First of all, you've got to find an issue. Now, I don't recommend that you go for life-shattering, absolutely deep, hardcore issues at this stage. Practice it a bit on simpler things. And what you have to do is find feelings, emotions, or some kind of behavioral disturbance or a mess of thoughts that you've got. We're not really interested in trying to solve things like, my marriage isn't very good, okay? Or I feel unhappy at work. Well, unhappy at work would work, but they're all jerks at work. It's got to be something about you that you feel you control, and it's one of the important teachings of Supernoetics, is that you control everything about how you feel. The idea that someone makes you angry or makes you sad is crazy. You make yourself angry. The other person did something you didn't like, but you're the one that made yourself feel angry. So we're looking for things like that. So if it's like, say, marriage, we would want the unhappy feeling I have about my marriage. That's kind of the issue. Okay, so what you then do is I want you to get in contact with this feeling. Go in there and really pick up this feeling that you have, this unhappy feeling, say, or emotional disturbance about your relationship, or whatever it is. I'm not telling you what you should handle, but whatever it is, get in there and really make it happen and feel it and make contact with it and push it to what we call crash and burn. You really feel, and try and imagine it getting worse and worse, and it's never going to go away. It'll just get worse in your life if it isn't dealt with. Oh, awful, that kind of feeling. Then we add in, well, what's going to happen to other people around you if you like that? If this is just going to go on forever and ever, getting worse, oh my God, that's awful too. You feel really awful about what other people are having to experience. Again, you drive it to crash and burn, and you really get these bad feelings. Turn them on, because we're going to turn them off. All right, the first thing you do then is step back and look at the feelings that you were just exploring there and ask yourself honestly, how much of that are you able to let go? Not how much would you like to let go, how much are you honestly, sincerely able to let go? And you might be able to say, well, I could drop 40% of that. Okay, good, so you sell yourself on the idea, I'll let that 40% go. Okay, ready? Let it go, or I invite you to let it go. I have decided to let it go. It's gone. I've let it go. So you've now got, say, 60% left. So of the remaining 60%, you can ask yourself, how much of that could you honestly let go? Are you able to let go? And again, not just what you'd like to let go, all of it, of course, but honestly, what could you let go? And you can say, well, I can let go another 30%. So that's 40% plus 30%. Okay, let go of that 30%. And pretty soon, you either get rid of it all, or, you've done your best, you can't get any further, and so on. What we do then, and this is the important next step, this is the killer next step, you have to find and identify and name what I call the exalted opposite. So if you were down in the dumps feeling sad, the exalted opposite would be happy, filled with joy and delight. And that's the one we're going to pursue. If you were, say, in an angry rage, you would be calm and tolerant and forgiving. If what you were looking at as the down or the crash and burn feeling was, say, fear or terror, then you'd have to look at feeling brave and composed, and I don't feel threatened, I can handle this. Whatever you decide is the exalted opposite, but it has to be the exalted opposite. If you pick fear as one end and feeling happy and joyful as the other end, they don't quite belong together, and the next part won't work, as you'll see. All right, so you identify your exalted opposite for this issue. And what you do is work on that. So create it in your mind, bring it on, work it and bring it on, and you grow it until you get to what we call triumph and beyond. Hey, this is good. And then work it again, triumph and beyond. Okay, now what you do then, the next step is you go backwards and forwards. So do some more crash and burn of the negative issue, feel it, oh my God. And then back to the exalted opposite. This is wonderful, I can handle this. I'm such a happy, composed, joyful person, I can handle anything. Back to the crash and burn, oh my God, this is awful. Back to the exalted opposite. Do this 2 or 3 times. And then here is the absolute magic, what I call the union step. You bring the two together in your mind at the same time. Now, guess what? These two things can't exist together at the same time in your mind, but you're able to put them together, but what will happen is they melt and fuse and sort of vanish away. And this turns into a good state, okay? Now, the way I explain this to people is to think of light and darkness. You know, light can banish darkness, but darkness can't banish light. You know, if there's light there, the darkness can't get rid of it because there's light there. You'd have to turn off the light to get darkness. So if you fuse the two together, the dark side or the crash and burn or the issue will melt away, and what you're left with is a very positive state of being. And it's really rather wonderful. You know, the way these two things melt together and fuse together and will disappear, you will find quite magic, I promise you. Now, some people find it very helpful to picture this in your hands. So the crash and burn is maybe in this hand and the exalted opposite. You know, really feel the sense of those two present together. And then as you're bringing them together in your mind, bring your hands together like that so that these two issues fuse. It seems very simple. It's very hard to believe it could do any good or change anybody. But you have to try it. Trust me, it really works. And people have been able to drop extraordinary issues. And by the way, you can go around again if you think, you know, well, that was pretty good. You know, I feel good, but a little bit, you know, unsure. Well, go around again. Do the crash and burn, and then do the exalted opposites, crash and burn, and backwards and forwards 3 or 4 more times. And then do the union step, bringing these things together. Hey, you can do it a 3rd time or more if you want. Just go round and round, balancing one against the other, backwards and forwards. You should find on the 2nd and 3rd time through, there's much less of the crash and burn. You know, it's just a little bit left maybe, so you fuse away the last of that. Okay, fairly simple. It's not difficult to do. Just watch the video a couple of times if you want to try it. Might be a good idea to sit down with a pen and paper and maybe work out a few issues before you start, and then work out what the exalted opposite might be. Nothing wrong with that. But when you do it, just follow the instructions that I've given you, and you can actually do it by keeping up with what I'm saying on the video, if you like. Now, listen, supernoetics and punk psychology in particular, we've got scores, if not hundreds, I hesitate to say thousands, but certainly hundreds of hacks that can help you feel better. Things to do with, you know, prosperity, managing relations, better communications, all kinds of aspects of life. I share these with you, and we have a membership area that we call Supernoetics Breakthrough Monthly. You can go and try that for just $1. I've arranged, it's as simple as that. You sign up for $1 if you want to bail out at the end, that's fine. If not, then you stay with us, and it's just $27 a month. And in that time, you get we have workshops, webinars, calls, and coaching classes, and so on, plus videos that I post. It's really, really good value. It's really very life-changing stuff. But you don't even have to worry about that. That's sales talk stuff. You don't need that just for $1. You can go and find out for yourself. And I'd like to think of you joining us on the inside. It would be a great move, and you could miss out heavily if you're not checking out this wonderful new stuff. Listen, some of supernoetics and punk psychology, there's nothing like it on earth, or has not been anything like it on earth up until now. And here it is. It's developed, worked up, written up carefully and tested, and it's ready for you to use like a key that will open the door. Okay, hope to see you on the inside. Thanks very much for listening, and you try that finding inner peace process. Thank you.